And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
Jay-Z has built an empire on the image of control, of dominance, of being untouchable. But in the glare of the spotlight, we're now watching cracks spread through the glossy veneer he and Beyonce have carefully polished for nearly 2 decades. Allegations of secret children, hidden payoffs, and whispers of betrayal are now threatening to drown one of the most powerful couples in music in a storm of speculation. And at the heart of this drama stands Leticia Macker, a woman from Maryland who insists she's not just another face in the crowd, but the first daughter of the Carter dynasty, a living contradiction to the perfect family portrait we've all been sold.
Weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me. Ever.
Leticia has been relentless. She's taken her claims public with an Instagram campaign that reads like a manifesto of defiance. Her handle says it all, Jay's first daughter. And her captions speak with the sharp tone of someone done with silence. "I've been quiet for far too long," she wrote, turning what might have been private whispers into an open declaration of identity. She insists her family always told her the truth, that Jay-Z was her father, and she now calls on the world to see the resemblance for themselves. "This isn't just about looking like him," she says. "This is about people who were there, people who knew, people who watched the relationship unfold. Her mother, her sister, her community, all supposedly aware of the story before it ever hit the internet. And now it's there for everyone to pick apart." What makes this claim even more explosive is the backdrop of her mother's struggles. Leticia has spoken about watching illness consume the woman who raised her, about stepping into the role of caretaker while juggling school, work, and raising 4 children of her own, including twins. She presents herself as someone who has carried burdens far beyond her years, now finally ready to demand acknowledgement from the billionaire mogul who she says abandoned her in plain sight. To many watching, it's not just the words that sting. It's the picture she paints of a life in the shadows, of a daughter left outside the gates of an empire she believes is rightfully connected to her. Then comes the bombshell claim that the Carters' silence isn't ignorance but strategy. Leticia's own relatives, including her sister Terry Turner, have stepped forward on social media with raw, unapologetic posts. Terry insists she personally introduced Jay-Z to Lisa, Leticia's mother, in a Cambridge, Maryland apartment back in the early 90s. She claims she saw them laugh, drink, play cards, and much more. "This isn't hearsay from strangers," she says. "This is from the woman who supposedly brokered the meeting." It's testimony that turns Leticia's story from a lone cry into a chorus backed by family history. Whether the details are airtight or not, the narrative is heavy enough to stir doubt in anyone who thought Jay-Z's personal life was beyond question.
A lot of potential. Jay was more quiet. But I mean, I learned that Jay was being quiet because he was taking notes. He was taking notes, observing everything, taking it all in. Because, sometimes you're around and you're watching to see things to do. But some people are around.
And now we come to the detail that has the internet buzzing like wildfire: the Cambridge Lake House. According to a former friend from Jay-Z's own circle, Leticia has been living in a property quietly purchased and maintained by the mogul himself. The whispers are sharp, bills covered, upkeep secured, but with one peculiar condition: no photos of Jay-Z allowed in the home. As the story goes, this was the deal, a way to provide support without ever offering recognition. If true, it suggests not just a family link, but a carefully choreographed attempt to bury it under layers of money and silence. To many, it looks like hush money disguised as generosity. And the number being floated? Nearly $1.7 million to keep the property running. That's not pocket change. That's strategy. What makes this even more dramatic is the suggestion that Beyonce herself has played a role in keeping the story contained. Imagine the pressure inside that marriage, the constant balancing act between loyalty and brand, between forgiveness and fury. We already know Jay-Z has admitted to stepping outside his vows in the past, but a whole secret daughter? That's not just betrayal, that's dynasty shaking. Industry insiders whisper that Beyonce, ever the strategist, may have worked behind the scenes to keep the scandal from exploding years earlier. That Cambridge property, the silence around Leticia's claims, the lack of DNA testing, it all paints a picture of a couple fighting to keep their empire intact, even if it means building walls around inconvenient truths.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put a Leo on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce.
And let's not forget, this isn't Jay-Z's first paternity scandal. We've seen the headlines before. Back in 2018, Veneer stepped forward claiming the rapper was his father, a claim backed by his late mother, Wanda, who insisted she had a relationship with Jay-Z in the early 90s. Courts were involved, filings made, but every time it came close to a definitive resolution, something shifted. Records sealed, cases dismissed, attorneys arguing jurisdiction, and always the same unanswered question: why won't Jay-Z just take the test? In Satterthwaite's words, there is one simple test that would put all of this to rest, yet year after year, the answer has been no. To those watching from the outside, the refusal itself starts to look like an answer. The fact is, we're now dealing with multiple claims, multiple families, and multiple decades of whispers, all pointing toward the same man. And Jay-Z's response? Silence, deflection, or, in the case of Satterthwaite, legal filings painting him as a harasser, chasing an impossible dream. But the more we dig, the more we see a pattern. A reluctance to address head-on, a determination to shut down conversation without ever definitively disproving it. It begs the question, is this the behavior of a man protecting his reputation from lies, or of someone hiding a truth too dangerous to admit?
What's up, what's up? This is Beyonce on the red carpet with one of the hottest female artists out here, Miss Aaliyah. How you doing, girl?
It's so good to see you again.
If the Cambridge house is real, if Leticia's story is as airtight as she claims, then the implications are staggering. It would mean Beyonce has known all along that the queen of image control has been playing chess with a secret family tucked away on the other side of the map. And if there's one daughter out there in Maryland, possibly backed by hidden support, then who's to say there aren't others? With Satterthwaite still battling in court and Leticia's campaign gaining traction online, the whispers are now louder than ever. Just how many children could Jay-Z be keeping out of the spotlight? And if the walls of the Carter empire start to crumble, what happens when the truth finally steps out from the shadows? And just when we think the drama can't spiral further, whispers from across the Atlantic pull us deeper into the labyrinth. The story goes that Jay-Z may have fathered a boy in Paris, the result of a brief affair with an R&B backup dancer. Industry chatter claims the situation became so volatile that a quiet arrangement was reached. The mother and child relocated overseas, with financial support ensuring they remained far away from the spotlight. For years, it's been little more than a rumor floating on industry airwaves, but now it's being revisited in the shadow of Leticia Macker's claims. Was this secret transatlantic move orchestrated not to protect the boy's privacy, but to protect Jay-Z's carefully constructed image?
Beyonce for sure. I love her. I love Beyonce. Jay-Z too, I really admire the both of them.
For Beyonce, such a revelation could represent the ultimate nightmare. We've long seen her as the queen of composure, the unshakable partner who can turn betrayal into platinum-selling art. But this is different. This isn't a fling exposed and forgiven in a lemonade ballad. This is the specter of a hidden son, one who reportedly had to be whisked to Europe to avoid ever threatening the Carters' pristine family picture. For a woman whose brand rests on strength, loyalty, and the perfect balance of family and empire, the existence of such a secret could feel like the deepest wound. We hear whispers that Beyonce has become the quiet enforcer behind the curtain, the one who ensures any woman connected to Jay-Z's past is either silenced or settled. Could it be that the iron grip we've admired as discipline on stage has also been deployed to suppress scandal off it?
Oh, no, that was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
For Beyonce, the strain of these recurring stories cannot be understated. Every new allegation doesn't just strike at her marriage, it seeps into her identity as an artist and a woman who has built her entire career around themes of empowerment and resilience. Each headline reopens wounds she may have thought were closed, dragging private struggles back into the spotlight. We often forget that behind the stage lights and the flawless performances, she is someone constantly calculating how much of her pain will be seen and how much must be hidden. The repetition of these scandals creates a cycle of anxiety that no amount of rehearsed control can fully erase. It's one thing to address infidelity once, to reclaim the narrative through music and performance, but it's another to face allegation after allegation, year after year. The constant hum of rumors about hidden families doesn't just bruise her pride, it gnaws at the sense of stability every partner craves. For Beyonce, the challenge becomes less about protecting her own image and more about shielding her children from the noise swirling around their father.
How do you know I'm not a gangster? Or used to be a gangster? I've been in the music industry for 30 years.
Yeah, the industry's filled with gangsters.
As a mother, the emotional toll must cut even deeper. We can only imagine the weight of raising 3 young children while knowing they will one day confront these stories themselves, whether in tabloids, online feeds, or whispered conversations among peers. The image of Blue Ivy, Sir, and Rumi growing up under the long shadow of their father's alleged past adds urgency to Beyoncé's protective instincts. It makes sense why she would move heaven and earth to keep the family brand untarnished. It isn't only her legacy on the line, but the emotional safety of her children. Professionally, these scandals also risk undermining the pristine aura she has cultivated. Beyoncé's artistry thrives on themes of strength, loyalty, and female power, yet each fresh rumor threatens to blur that message with reminders of betrayal and secrecy in an industry where perception often outweighs fact. Even the faintest suggestion of cracks in her home life can ripple into questions about authenticity. The balancing act becomes excruciating, continuing to project control while privately navigating turmoil that refuses to vanish.
I was sleeping, and my boyfriend tapped me and said, "Mary, Shy's on the phone telling us that Aaliyah just got."
The psychological weight of such scrutiny is amplified by the fact that Beyoncé's life has never been entirely her own. From the earliest days of Destiny's Child to her reign as a solo icon, her every move has been dissected and analyzed. Add to that the pressure of being half of the most famous couple in music, and it's no wonder whispers suggest she battles waves of anxiety behind the scenes. It is the paradox of superstardom. The higher she rises, the more her personal world is mined for flaws.
I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
We have to consider what living under these conditions does to her ability to trust. Trust in her husband, trust in her inner circle, trust even in her own instincts. All of it can erode under the constant threat of new revelations. The fortress she has built around herself is designed to keep danger out, but it may also keep her isolated within. The consequence of repeated betrayal, whether proven or not, is often a hardening of the heart, a survival instinct that makes it nearly impossible to let anyone in fully. And perhaps that is the true tragedy behind these rumors. Not only the question of whether they are true, but the emotional erosion they cause regardless of their validity. Even if no DNA test ever confirms another child, the mere existence of the accusations carves away at the illusion of security. Beyoncé, in her determination to protect her family's narrative, must wrestle daily with the unrelenting possibility that another secret might surface tomorrow. And in that struggle, we glimpse the human cost of maintaining perfection in a world that demands it. And it doesn't end there. The Paris story, the Cambridge Lake House, the ongoing lawsuits, they all point towards something much larger lurking under the surface. According to multiple insiders, there's talk of a so-called paternity fund, an account rumored to hold as much as $5 million. Its purpose? To cover settlements, payoffs, and quiet agreements designed to keep potential claims from exploding into public view. If true, this would be the most damning revelation of all. Not just a single affair, not just one child, but an entire system built to absorb scandal before it ever reaches the headlines. Imagine a slush fund, not for charity, not for investment, but for silence. That doesn't just hint at missteps. It suggests a calculated structure to conceal a web of indiscretions stretching across decades.
This is what I look for. When I see a success, I'm looking for anything
to say that they didn't do it on their own?
Detain it, not
The whispers surrounding this fund are chilling in their implications. Who has drawn from it? How many women signed agreements? How many children grew up in the shadows, their stories folded neatly into non-disclosure clauses and monthly deposits? If we accept that Leticia Macker's claims carry weight, and if we connect them to the Paris rumor and the long trail of lawsuits, then suddenly the idea of a paternity fund no longer feels outlandish. It feels almost necessary to explain how so many allegations have risen, made waves, and then mysteriously quieted down. And in the middle of it all, Beyoncé remains the immovable figure. The loyal wife on the red carpet, the global icon on the stage, the unspoken power ensuring that the Carter brand survives unscathed. We've seen other celebrities face these storms. Some deny, some settle, some take the test and prove their innocence once and for all. But Jay-Z's pattern of resistance, no DNA swabs, no clean denials, just a fortress of lawyers and sealed files, raises questions that no press release can smother. If the fund exists, it's not simply a financial tool. It's a weapon of silence, one that may have already erased stories we'll never hear. And we can't help but wonder, what happens if someone, someday, refuses the money and decides to speak anyway? What happens if more Letitias and Rymers step forward, armed not with whispers, but with undeniable proof?
How did you feel initially when Beyonce started dating Jay-Z, who is very successful, but he's also, generally considered a gangster rapper?
As we piece these threads together, the image of Jay-Z as an untouchable titan of hip-hop begins to blur. Could it be that behind the billion-dollar empire lies a hidden ledger of betrayals, secret families, and payments meant to stitch shut the mouths of those who know too much? Or is this all an elaborate campaign to smear one of the most successful artists of our time, a man whose every move is magnified under the weight of his fame? That is the razor's edge where this story now stands. And so we're left staring at the Carter's empire, wondering if it's built on brilliance alone or on a foundation of secrets too costly to reveal. If these rumors are even half true, then the fallout would shake not just their marriage, but the entire perception of their dynasty. We have to ask, how many more shadows are waiting to emerge? And how long can the silence hold? Tell us what you think. Is Jay-Z the victim of relentless conspiracy or the architect of a hidden legacy? The truth may be closer than any of us realize. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and remember, in the world of fame, nothing stays hidden forever.